Fuse here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're starting at day 1. You started this game, you've discovered there's a thing called a clan boss. How do you get... What does this clan boss do? What do you get for fighting the clan boss? What is your purpose in clan boss? Who does it affect? Who do you take to do damage? We're starting from the beginning. This is gonna be a little fun. When you first discover the clan boss, you're not gonna have a level 60. You'll be lucky if you have a 330, maybe a 440 kill. You're gonna go into easy, and there is nothing wrong with jumping into easy, doing 100,000 damage, and getting what you can get. What do you get for the clan boss? If you hit him, you can hit him 4 times a day with no extra keys. Every 6 hours you rotate, a new key will pop up. So what I do is when I wake up in the morning, around 6 a.m., I hit him twice. By the time I get home, around 6 p.m., when the reset happens for me, where I'm at, I hit him 2 more times to get my 4 hits. So that's the best way to maximize your damage. Let's say you're going in, you're only hitting for 100,000. You can hit him 4 times, which gets you into the novice chest. Obviously, each chest has better rewards the better you do. And the goal is to get out of easy as quickly as possible, move into normal, where you'll have to start doing over 1 million damage, or right at 1 million damage. Your goal is to try to get to the maximum chest on whichever one of these difficulties you're able to. So you continuously climb, you get into hard, you're going to have to hit for 11 million, 11.6 to get that guardian chest. And then brutal is going to be your first goal, is to get the brutal. Don't worry so much about Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. At the beginning, you're trying to get into Brutal and trying to get about 21 million. Sounds like a lot to ask when you first start out. Well, when you start out, don't stress. You don't affect anybody else when you do this clan boss. Other than when one clan boss dies, you get twice the loot. You get 2 rolls on loot. So if you were to come in and hit Brutal and get your Grandmaster chest, that's where you can start getting shards, books. If the clan kills Brutal, then you do get 2 chests. And each one will have several pieces of loot, some good gear. Hopefully you get a shard. It's hard for a clan to plan around this because typically everybody does need to go for their personal best rewards. As the clan grows, you'll all start grouping up in these last 3 eventually. There's no rush to get there, but we're going to show you how to get there. When you start out, you're weak. You're not level 60. You have only 1 weapon in your arsenal. Well, there are 2. Poisons, though. That's your main source of damage. If you started with Kale, you've got somebody who can go in here and just do poison damage. Poison does damage based on health power each turn. Some people will bring, you'll see here, somebody has brought in the... this uncommon's name? Outlaw Monk. He actually does really good on poisons. So it's a great way to start doing damage in here. I would say I wouldn't put too much effort into the this monk here, the Outlaw Monk, because later on he's basically food. Now, you know, you're just not going to get any more value out of him later on. You could use him through hard, possibly even into brutal. Once you try to get out of Brutal, that's where everything's going to change. So, on easy, you're going to be coming in here. You probably don't have level 60s yet. Absolutely normal and fine. You want your first starter hero to be your main focus. When you start this game, you want that first level 60, and Kale can do it. He can do it all. He can help you in clan boss. You'll move away from him eventually. But he's great at farming, he's great on dragon, he's good for wave clear, he's good in the arena. Kale really is like your carry. Every resource needs to go into getting your level 60, your first one, to help you grow your other 60s. And like I say every time, focus one at a time. Pick your next 60, take them all the way so you're getting the effect out of them. So easy is just while you're growing, you come in and you do your damage. If you are doing over 1 million damage in one hit, it's time to move on. Your night chest. So you just want to be watching your damage and doing a little bit of math. You know, that's fun, right? And then moving to the next chest that you can. So once you start one keying That means hitting your maximum damage with one key on this. It's time to move on. You're wasting that key. It's time to take that one key into normal and hit it 4 times a day and get a better chest. And obviously that applies for moving up in each one of these. Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare are a big jump. That's not what we're talking about today. That's when you start speed tuning. I've got a speed tune, kind of a quick guide on how to do it. You can go check that out if you're at the point where you're about to move out of Brutal. So how do you start beating normal, hard? How do you start moving through these? Well, normal, just a decent team with, look, we got lots of poisons. We've got defense down. We've got speed. This team's probably about ready to go in 4-key normal. And then what really changes everything is masteries. I keep telling you to focus on getting level 60s. They change even a level 60 that doesn't make sense on the clan boss can do some amazing things. Because once you hit level 60, you can take your masteries. Let me find a rare. Here you go. You can take your masteries all the way down to War Master. If you hit 1 or 2 times on your A1, then typically you want to take War Master. This has a 60% chance, a pretty high chance, of inflicting a bit of bonus damage on each turn. So 10% of the target's max HP. It's 4% when it's a boss, but there's so much HP on this clan boss. This hit can pull 50, 60,000 every time you go out and take a turn on top of your damage, including if you're hitting them and putting poison down. This also comes out and gives you more damage. Once you start getting level 60s, this is going to push you fast, like really fast. Every move that every character takes is all of a sudden not just hitting for, 5,000 a hit, poison doing maybe 20,000 a hit. They're also having a 60% chance of doing a big 50, 60,000 hit. So if you hit more than 2 times, Aethel, she hits 3 times on her A1. You're going to give her Giant Slayer. It's only a 30% chance to proc a fairly large hit on that clan boss based on his max HP, but it's per swing, not per turn. So if you're taking 3 or more on your A1, you clearly want to take Giant Slayer. And if you're taking 1 or 2 swings on your A1, you want War Master. This is where the majority of your damage is going to come from. So when you start getting just flat out having 5 level 60s, is probably going to put you into hard. Doing this big damage is going to start happening really fast once you have a mastery on 5 of your characters. So you don't have to have amazing heroes to do damage on the clan boss. Now that we're working our way towards hard just by getting level 60s, how do we up that damage? This is 100%, if you follow these rules, it will just dramatically increase your damage output. Poisons are always going to be a part of clan boss, but they become far less important than those masteries. You have to believe me. You're probably going to want 1 good poisoner or 2 medium poisoners. You can put 10 debuffs, and that is all you can put on the clan boss. Before poisons, you need attack down. 50% less damage from that clan boss means you get more turns hitting with your masteries. If you want those War Master procs to hit harder, you need defense down, you need weaken. Before Brutal, weaken is actually better than defense down. At Brutal, they're about even, defense down and weaken. If you have to pick one, that's the reason I'm explaining this, then weaken is actually more effective, I believe, through hard. And then they're about the same on Brutal, and then defense down is more effective than weaken past Brutal. Ideally, you'll have both. Attack down is a must. Defense down and weaken or weaken is pretty much essential. Your masteries will need to be filled out, and at that point you'll have 1 or 2 soft poisoners, 1 solid poisoner or 2 soft poisoners. It's great to have somebody that can put increased defense on your team. And when you build your characters out, let's look at the kind of characters you want. We're going to run a Brutal team with nothing but rares, and we're going to kind of look at, I think I set these up before. Let's go to Brutal. Did I set him up? No. Okay. This is something else. Unkillable. This is a big deal here. We're not going to mess with all that. We're going to go to all rares. What do I keep saying? Attack down. We've got to have it. We've got to have it. I'm going to take Coffin Smasher. He hits 3 times, which means he actually gets to use Giant Slayer. He does. Let's look at him real quick. He brings attack down on his A1. He hits 3 times. Each one has a small chance, about 25, 30. That's actually pretty good. Of placing decrease attack. So this guy, every time he goes out and hits this guy 3 times each turn, has a chance of putting this down. He's going to keep me alive just by doing that. On top of that, he has HP burn, which acts very much like a poison on this boss. It's definitely worth bringing as a supplement to your damage. He has a really cool passive, guys. If you got this guy, he decreases the damage inflicted by all those AoEs. The clan boss does an AoE, and then he slams 1 target. Usually it will be the guy you put in the front of your team, or he'll focus down somebody with really low health power to try to finish them off. This just decreases the damage your team takes. This guy is pretty amazing. As far as builds, I'll show you afterwards. These builds are weak. Some of them aren't even wearing proper gear. You want defense gear. I don't care if your champion is an attack champion. He is an HP champion, and he's not geared for clan boss. It's going to be a problem because I actually use this guy in Doom Tower. But we're going to bring him in, and we're going to show you what the right composition could do. But you want life steal gear on these people. He's not going to have it this go. But we're going to bring him in for that attack down. We're going to keep him in the back of the pile here. We're going to talk about order in a second. But we've got our attack down. Now we need defense down. This is an interesting character here. Grave Chill Killer. Boy, it's just there. All right, Grave Chill Killer. She has a 100% chance of placing a decreased defense, and that can be the strong version as long as there's a poison on the clan boss. She has a chance of doing a poison. It's not a huge chance, but a decent chance on her A1. And then she attacks 2 times. Each hit places a weak version of a poison, but it can be a strong version if you have poison sensitivity. The only rare in the game, and one of the few in the game period that can do that, is my main poisoner, Frozen Banshee. She puts down poison sensitivity, and then she just starts laying down poisons constantly. And we'll get into the order of these guys in a minute. If you don't have her, you could just bring Kel, put poisons up with him so that she can do decreased defense. And there are other options. This guy, Grappler, I'm not bringing him, but he brings weaken. He brings decreased defense. No, he increases your defense, and he lays poisons. He's amazing for clan boss. That's really all he's good at. But this rare, Grappler, I may have to do a guide on this guy. People just don't realize what they have when they pull this guy. He brings 2/3 of your kit, just one person. But we're not going to go crazy. We've got decreased defense, decreased accuracy. We've got our poisoner. Now we need, if you can get your hands on a defensive aura, you need to bring a defensive aura. But Bulwark does even more than that. He also brings a chance to put weaken down. It's the weak version, but we're not playing big ball here. We're just playing the game, right? He's got your weaken to add to your defense down. He also has an HP burn, kind of like poisons, help you keep that turn meter. And this is 2 things here. Increases all of your defense on everybody. I keep telling you, stack defense. Even if it's a attack character, they need defense chest. If they're not doing big damage, they need defense gloves. They need defense all over them, right? So this guy helps increase their base defense by 17%. And then when he's attacked, that's why he's going to be my front man. He's going to give me this aura, and then when he gets attacked, he has a 30% chance of extending the duration of all those poisons and all those decreased attack and all the debuffs we're putting up. He can increase them by 1 turn. That makes it so much easier to keep that bar full of your debuffs and your poisons. This is super effective. Once the clan boss hits 50% health, he changes affinity. He starts out Void Affinity so that nobody's weak against him, but then he changes Affinity. Well, when he does that, his hits hit twice. The AoE hits twice. That gives you 60% chance, or 30% chances, to actually increase the duration of all these debuffs. This guy is really solid on Clan Boss. So now this is where we've covered decreased attack, we've got weaken, we've got defense down, we've got a couple HP burns, we've got poisons. We kind of have a chance here to just speed our team up. We're not speed tuning, so let's throw Apothecary in. Let's keep everybody moving really fast. We're sticking with rares. If I didn't use Apothecary, I would use Haikatune. She could do this she'd do it better in your lead, but she does have a speed lead, but this is too hard to pass up. Having a defense aura that actually takes hits and it can increase the duration of all debuffs. So we're just going to throw this team in. I'm not even going to... I know for a fact that I think I remastered my Apothecary, so he may not get War Master procs. I don't know if I can check from here. You know, I've moved on from most of these people, but we're going to put them in just like they are, and we're going to see what we can do on this. I'll speed this up. We're going to hit auto. They're just going to go and rotate as fast as they can. We're off to the races. Just watch the debuff bar and pay attention to all the debuffs. Pay attention to the damage we're taking. And again, Coffin Smasher, I don't believe he's in Lifesteal gear, and neither is Apothecary. So this is like, I'll show you my gear afterwards. This is like, if you literally just got these guys to 60, this is probably what they would look like. So you see that poisons do the lion's share of your damage. She's got some poisons going out, but she kept up decreased defense pretty solid. He was really good at keeping that decreased attack. Apothecary was not in Lifesteal gear. This could have went on, I'm sure, quite further, as well as Coffin Smasher not being in Lifesteal gear. And Apothecary doesn't have the mastery to give him damage. He probably would have been about up here with Coffin Smasher and Bulwark if he did have the he actually uses Giant Slayer because he hits 3 times on his A1. So this is, let's look at this team and see how you can make 12-13 million. And what is brutal? All you got to do is hit 21 million to get your max chest. An all rare team can do this in 2 hits, which means that you're already looking at moving into Nightmare. And the difference between Brutal and Nightmare is making sure your defense is stacked higher. Your accuracy has to be like, I'd have to look, I think 180 minimum, maybe 170. I'll edit this and I'll put that above me. And you have to have that defense, though. It's so important to have defense just all over your characters. You have to have lifesteal. Without an amazing healer, in-game healer, or a really great leech character, you'll have to have lifesteal gear on everybody. And on Nightmare, you've got to get a lot more damage against a lot more difficult of a boss. So there's a big jump. The change between Nightmare and Brutal is when you want to go watch my speed tuning video and take that serious. Let's look at their builds. I just want you to see that I'm not sitting here in game gear. I mean, these are people that I've moved on from. Let's find the people we now. I will say that Frozen Banshee, she's probably built pretty solid. I still use her. Bulwark. I mean, we got 4-star, a gray item. Man, he's still sitting in grays. Let's see what we got. Still, I managed to get 3,500 defense. His accuracy is ready for Ultra Nightmare. And look, and you see what I'm wearing? 2 gray items. 2 gray items, and this defense. This is defense. Let's look at, I don't know why I just left that. Who else did we have? Frozen Banshee's going to be built solid, but Grave Chill Killer, look, a gray item. You can farm this. You can farm this on the lifesteal stage. And I know, let's see, she does have her defense on and her speed boots. There's just nothing. Look, I mean, the rolls aren't even, we're level 12 on these rolls. This is not even close to end game, not even middle game. Now this guy's missing a piece of gear. I must have stole it when I built somebody out. Look at this. We just went in without any weapon, and no life steal, so he couldn't heal himself. Look at his defense. This guy should not have even been in there. He's built now to be properly using his HP attacks, but he's missing gear. Guys, that's how easy it is to get to Brutal and beat it. I mean, you know, I've got people like Aethel I could throw in there. She's great, by the way, does weaken. I bragged on it. My Apothecary, look, he's no lifesteal gear. He is built fairly well for what I use him for. I keep his HP low and his defense high, so some of these rolls are actually not rolled on purpose. But like, I mean, look, you know, I've moved on from these guys. I have better people, and they're just geared as if you were at this stage in the game. I mean, honestly, this is how you should look if you're at this stage in the game. If you're not ready for Nightmare, you go ahead and 2-key Brutal, and then back up and easily 1-key Hard, and you might as well come 1-key normal and get all those chests, all of those chests. If there are other people grouped up with you doing this same thing, you'll kill that clan boss and get double loot on each one. The goal is to finally get up to Nightmare, and then eventually Ultra Nightmare, where your clan can work together to kill those bosses on a daily basis and get everybody 2 of these shards a day, right? Legendary books, epic books. Man, I wish like you could get 5 rare books now that they're so hard to get. But that's clan boss for a beginner in a nutshell. I've told you what you need. I've showed you some of the people you could bring, and obviously there are epics and amazing people that just go further and further than those rares. With Frozen Banshee being an exception, and possibly Bulwark, they're both end game viable in Ultra Nightmare. I promise you, the difference on my Ultra Nightmare unkillable team is about 1 million. If I take Occult Brawler out and I put Frozen Banshee in, he does a little bit better because I get less counterattacks to do my unkillable. My counterattack champion gets the stun on purpose, so I kind of lose my value out of my counterattack team. I'm thinking about trying to go back to a traditional team and beat these numbers, but you know, it takes a lot of silver to roll up the right gear. I'll get around to that and we'll have some fun looking at that. Guys, we're not going to keep this any longer than it has to be. Go forth, hit the clan boss. You've got to be getting this. You're going to get amazing gear that just outperforms. You get gear that makes HP gear pretty much useless, the Immortal set, and the Cruel set makes attack gear pretty much useless. But you don't want to be sitting down here. You don't get good gear in easy. You start getting better gear up in hard and brutal. Brutal is really the point where it's going to help. That's where you start getting these shards, these books. So go on, take this advice, push straight into hard just by getting level 60s, and then when you start getting the right ingredients, these characters I'm showing you that I went over, build them, and you're going to master this clan boss, I promise you. Once you want to hit Nightmare, go watch my speed tuning video, and I'm sure we'll do more in the future. So have a great evening and enjoy the grind.